We could debate this whole thing later, but I'm happy to talk about the New York City mayor race. I actually find that very interesting.
I know, because I realize that each one with this group, each one of these topics could have been a show unto itself, and that is something that we're gonna work out in the first part of going forward when we have incredible guests like Dave. But Lindy, just jump right into it because our time is limited. So, for us, what is happening? What is the latest with the mayoral race?
Dude, why do they have Lindy Li taking the lead on this, right? Like Lindy Li, the person who was pro-Kamala and Joe Biden right up until the morning of the election, and then all of a sudden she became an immigrant that hated Kamala and was like pro-Trump. She's the one taking the lead in the whole New York mayoral race. Dude, now watch her face though. Okay, she starts smiling when she says his name, like she is a buffoon.
So basically, you guys have probably all have heard what has happened. Mamdani has won the New York City primary, which is now pitting him against Eric Adams, the current mayor, who's running as an independent because he didn't think that he could make it, rightly didn't think that he could make it through the Democratic primary. And we just heard a few hours ago that Andrew Cuomo has decided to remain in the race. There's been some talk that he would drop out of the race because they were afraid that they would divide up the opposition to Mamdani. But it sounds like it's going to be essentially a three-way in addition to the Republican candidates. But given the voter registration landslide advantage that Democrats have, it's highly unlikely that a Republican will win.
Dude, 𝗙cie is not winning. Dude, the guardian angel guy? Dude, that guy, dude, 𝗙cie, the fucking guardian angel Republican dude, like that guy is just there for comic relief. Yeah, I don't know why she's all smiling, dude. She's like reading her little list. It's her big moment in the sun. But Mamdani, I think, is going to fucking clean house.
I'm just going to get right into it. And I might say something that might offend some folks, but go ahead.
Do it, girl.
Okay, thank you for the nod.
Sink your teeth in.
I am absolutely stunned that the city that is famous for being terrorized by Islamic terrorists is on the cusp of electing Islamic extremist who was chanting globalized intifada.
Dude, he never chanted globalized intifada. Like, he never chanted that. She's a fucking liar. He's not an Islamic extremist. This guy, right? She comes out of the gate. First off, if he's Muslim, then certainly he's a terrorist, according to Lindy fucking Li. But the fact that she said he chanted globalize the intifada, that never happened. That never happened. He just refused to like start playing wordplay with trying to say that phrase automatically means like terrorism. My God, dude, what is she doing, bro?
Intifada as its mayor. That for me is just jaw-dropping. This is 24 years after 9/11. And it just completely blows my mind that this is happening. But putting that aside, I also want to address his Marxist agenda and all the things that he's laying out.
His Marxist agenda. She doesn't. I bet if we asked her to define Marxism, I guarantee you she wouldn't be able to define Marxism.
As he's portraying himself as a man of the working people. But my view is that it's basically a Trojan horse for government takeovers of many different programs. For example, he promises free buses, city-run grocery stores, a rent freeze, a 30 minimum wage. But who is paying for that? Because as we all know, there's no such thing as a free lunch in American society. Someone is paying for that.
Yeah, you know who's paying for it? I believe the NYPD is going to be picking up some of that tab. Right? It's going to be on the NYPD. All right? They're going to pay for the buses. Let's go, dude. NYPD is kicking in, dude. They're going to give up like some of their overtime and a couple of tanks in exchange for the city to have some free buses. Right? Let's go.
And it's working class families in New York City. And we've seen the same thing play out in cities like San Francisco. And it's been an absolute disaster there. And this New York City is a home of Wall Street and real estate empires. His policies would devastate the economy there and drive a lot of big money out of the city, the same money that drives the economic engine of arguably the greatest city on earth. And I'm from Philadelphia, and I still concede that. I believe that his Marxist playbook will crush the economic engine. Beyond that, he continually uses the inflammatory slogan, globalize intifada, which I think...
Dude, he's never used that slogan. He has not once ever used that slogan at all. Never. He's never even uttered it.
Raises huge red flags. He claims it's about Palestinian rights. But from what people hear, I hear, is Jew-hating extremism. And given the heavy Jewish population in New York City, I think his incendiary rhetoric, it undermines the fabric and the essence of the city and is just a tremendous show of disrespect. Democrats, on the other hand, they praise his identity politics, they praise his diversity, but they conveniently ignore the words that he chooses to use, which I think is extremely loaded. And he also portrays himself as a struggling immigrant, but let's not fool around here. He is an Ivy League activist rather than a genuine activist on behalf of working class Americans. And Democrats prop him up as a champion of diversity, but a lot of Black and Latino leaders said, hey, we don't want this guy. He's going to take away our influence. He's going to undermine the working class. And that's why a lot of them went for Andrew Cuomo instead.
Dude, he won the Latinos by a lot. He did lose the Black vote. The Black vote stayed traditional, like, establishment Democrat. That's been a pretty common trend, especially the older Black people, which is understandable. It was the Democratic establishment that, like, you know, passed the Civil Rights Act and ushered in a new level of freedom. So a lot of those older Black voters, they are like ride or die. And you know what I'm saying? And I would never fault them for that. I totally get it. But acting like they're voting for Cuomo because they like Cuomo, I'm not really buying that at all. I think they have been heavily propagandized to believe that like socialism or anything remotely socialist is going to be harmful to them.
Primary. And from my point of view, this isn't so much as an endorsement of Mamdani as a rejection of Cuomo, whom a lot of people see as corrupt and a vestige of a dying political dynasty.
Dude, she's just reading, who wrote this? Did she write this? Did PBD write this? I'm curious who wrote this little soliloquy, dude. It's like some bad Shakespeare, bro. Right? It's like Shakespeare on fucking, Pepto-Bismol, bro.
Lastly, one quick thing. I think this is another manifestation of the extreme leftward lurch of the Democratic Party, and one reason I was forced to leave. I can't get on board with state funding of gender-affirming care. I can't get on board with the Marxist policies.
Dude, Marxist, yeah, I don't remember Marxism talking about gender-affirming care, but whatever.
Government-run groceries, and just today, he came out with another proposal. He wants to tax whiter neighborhoods to pay for everybody else. Nat, do you have the article that...
Now, again, not to misrepresent the Mamdani proposal about the whiter neighborhoods, is he didn't say, oh, I want to tax the whiter neighborhoods. Okay, this was part of his campaign website. What he actually said was he said that the property tax system in New York is highly inequitable. And in fact, the poorer minority neighborhoods pay a much higher ratio of taxes than the whiter, wealthier neighborhoods. Okay, and that the wealthy white neighborhoods pay way less of the share of taxes compared to the value of their homes than the poor minority neighborhoods do. So what his idea is we need to provide some equitable relief. We need to stop overtaxing the poor minority neighborhoods, and we need to elevate the amount of taxing we do on those white, wealthy neighborhoods. All right. And he's not taxing them for being white. He's not going after white people. It's just the data is showing that the white wealthy neighborhoods, and it's also showing that in America, where there's a wealthy neighborhood, it's also a white neighborhood. Gee, and where there's a poor neighborhood, it's a lot of people of color. Why does that happen? Right? Why does that keep happening in America? Is it something systemic? Could that be because of 50 years of redlining, perhaps? That like now all of our property values are tied to color, right? And so what he's doing is he's identifying the data that's showing that. But when white people hear, wow, the data shows you guys are living in a privileged world and everybody else is getting taken advantage, they're like, oh my God, you're attacking the white people. And it's like, no, man, we're trying to point out the system. What is up, guys? Thank you so much for watching. If you like the video, you want to support independent resistance media, you know what to do. Drop that sub, hit the like button, and please share it.